But yeah, learn't that, and then I started just going to some of the arcades in London and just getting beaten up by people like F Word and Ryan Hart and Zach Bennett and Andreas and some of the players around at that time that were, just going there every day and picking up the game and learning. And
I mean, you got initiated right away. Then it wasn't like going to a local arcade first. You went straight to the big boys arcade.
that was the
That's
local,
the local,
arcade.
right?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tuesday show. I'm James Chen, joined along by Mr. UltraDavid and Mr. TuboWare. How you guys doing?
I'm doing so well.
Wow.
No, I wasn't.
Put your mic down. Jesus. Go ahead.
Hello, everybody.
At least just
More
manscape
tolerable,
the
yeah.
mic first or something, instead of having it so big and so close to your mouth.
No, I wasn't playing King of Fighters until exactly 5:29 p.m. Of course not, James. I can't believe you would insinuate such. And what about you, TuboWare?
I've gotten to do nothing fun yet today, so
Awesome.
great.
Well,
Thanks.
it
Glad you-
starts
thank you.
now.
Everything
with the
starts now.
Tuesday show.
What we're going to be doing, as you can see on the side here, Street Fighter V's got a big balance patch. We'll be talking about it. They also have announced that the CPT is going to come back. We'll be talking about it. Testament is out in Strive. We will review that as well. And then we have a guest, Logan Sama. We'll be talking about lifting weights and eating steak.
And anime sucks.
Yeah, and Warhammer 40K.
You know what?
And,
I forgot to
figurines.
switch the order. We were going to do the Street Fighter stuff later to lead into Logan, but too late now. We're going to do the Testament stuff to lead into Logan.
Absolutely right. We have some fun questions that we're going to get to in the 5-5 matchup. We got some fun mailbags as always, but of course, let's start, as James just said, with number one, the Street Fighter V Big Patch. The Big Patch, the definitive update for Street Fighter the Fifth.
Huh?
Like literally called the definitive update.
The definitive update.
I don't believe that, but we can talk about that.
We will. So they have, in fact, put out all the patch notes. The game is out. You can play it online, etc. It's all available for y'all. It is a big set of patch notes. How big is it? It is a 79-page
So big.
PDF. It's literally a 79-page PDF. It's a big
Holy
document.
crap.
Yeah, and that's because not just that there are a lot of changes, but also because they actually put in pretty detailed explanations for their changes in each one of the cases, in each character. And so in some cases, those actually are wordier than the list of updates themselves.
Actually,
So,
I mean, to
a lot
be
of words
honest
in
with you, I think half of the patch notes was the change to Urian's EX headbutt.
Just repeat it over and over and over.
Dude, did you see that?
And by the way, just for the future, you old guys, when someone asks how big a patch is, they don't mean how big the document is, you dorks. They mean the file size, so when they can download it to update their game. It's 79 pages long and it's 30 gigabytes.
Dude, the patch was stupidly large. I mean,
Gigabyte.
they don't actually ever patch it. They just make you download the whole thing again. I'm pretty sure that's all they really just do instead of patching. It's unoptimized is the best way to put it. So
let's talk about it. In the before times, I think we all agree that SF5 last season was like pretty well balanced. There were some standout characters. There were some characters who definitely could use help, but also it was pretty well balanced. So the fact that they have come out with a balanced patch that is as significant as this, with as much just being full of changes as this, is, I don't know, what do you think about that decision? Before we get into, who changed and whatnot.
I mean, is this the definitive patch? I mean, we'll find out, obviously, as we continue to play and find out just how bad some characters are and how good some characters are. But I mean, honestly, the characters who were considered not very strong, I feel like they got some pretty decent buffs. You know, like I know Ibuki's fallen off, and I saw a clip of Cien just going like, "Oh my God, there's so much to try with this character now." And Mika's got her back throw thing back. You know, Fang players seem to be really happy. As a Lucia player, I seem to be pretty happy. You know, like I feel like. You know, they did a pretty good job. I'm surprised a character like Luke didn't get nerfed a little more than he did, but, you know, maybe that's good because everybody else got buffed a little bit. I'm sure there's going to be some bugs, issues here and there. You know, there's this potential Zeku Infinite now that people are going to have to look at. But, you know, outside of stuff like that, I mean, it seems pretty good so far, in my opinion.
But what do you feel about the decision to make such a big set of changes? I mean, it reminds me almost of how in Ultra Street Fighter 4, they made a ton of changes. They added 5 characters. They added red focus. They added delayed wake up. So that's more. It's bigger. That was a riskier one maybe. But nevertheless, like this is supposed to be the last big patch. Yeah, maybe if something's terrible, they'll make another small change as they did in Ultra. But this is supposed to be the last big patch. So I don't know. Yeah, what do you feel about them going for kind of shooting for the moon rather than like little tweaks here and there?
Well, of course. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? They're already looking forward to Street Fighter 6, so you know, have fun with it. The game is basically sold when it's gonna sell. They might get a few stragglers who want to get ready for Street Fighter 6 or whatever, but why not just have fun with it if you're putting out a patch that you didn't even plan on doing in the first place? This is all bonus material, bonus content for Street Fighter 5. They laid out the plan, and Street Fighter 6 was supposed to come earlier, but COVID happened, and we all know how that shit went, or is going. You know, like I think it's good. I think it's a good thing to have fun with it, and yeah, try to hit a home run, swing for the fences, go ham.
It's actually brought back some people. There's a lot of people who are like, I might actually try this again, see how my character is now. And so, I mean, like, I've been part of a Lucia, you know, DM group on Twitter. We haven't said anything in the, like, last year and a half.
Yeah.
And then the patch notes came out, and we're like, yeah, well, especially with that character, Jesus Christ. But now, all of a sudden, people are talking here, and Will Tupac is back going, look, say she's good. I'm telling you, she's good. So,
that's cool. No, I honestly agree with Brock. Why not have something big?
Yeah.
If it's terrible, people look forward to Street Fighter 6. It's probably not going to be the case that if it's terrible, people will be like, "Oh, Capcom's bad. I'm no longer interested in this game or Street Fighter 6." Probably not, right? I think much more likely is that they will say, "Okay, you know, I'm not going to play this. I'll just wait for SF6. Maybe in the meantime, I'll play Gear, KOF, whatever else. But like, you know, I'm going to be there for SF6." So yeah, I agree that there's not actually that much risk to like the bottom line.
Nothing to lose, baby.
I honestly trust them. I trust the devs at this point to make a well balanced game because I think that they've been making a fun, more fun, more interesting, better balanced game for the last like 3 years than SF5 was before, and I think that continues. So I have confidence in them. I guess we'll see how it plays out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
And I think I still think that they'll probably make subtle tweaks if necessary, but the one interesting thing though is that, you know, when they first revealed the trailer, it looked like they were going to blow the game completely open with like crazy stuff. They definitely selectively chose the crazier things to show in the trailer. It turns out that the patch was still
false advertising.
Yeah, it's still pretty.
It's
not. I mean, obviously, everything that they showed is true. I still think it's funny that they gave Ed and Falk meter burns from NRS games. You know, I've always liked that idea, so I think it's neat that they gave that to them. But you know, for the most part,
changes to the netcode.
Yeah,
not even worth talking about.
I think they've already just kind of given up that boat right there.
And still has everybody still playing SF5. We all know what we're getting into at this point.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, I think it is. I do like the fact that they've gone a little more ham. Like Bison's just able to go nuts in V Trigger 1 now, you know, and I like that kind of thing. I like them opening it up and letting people kind of go ham again, having Mika have the wall bounce only on back throw, I thought was a great compromise,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And I just think it just makes the game more fun. And again, if this is more of an indication of what they're planning to do with Street Fighter 6, let characters kind of go more ham, I think we're in a good position, to be honest.
I totally agree with you. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about. We're not going to get into every character here, but do you have a set of characters who like jump out to you as notable characters in this patch, whether for coming out on top or maybe for getting busted or what?
Well, go ahead, James.
No, I mean, the ones that I see immediately that stand out are one, Alex, and two, Kage. Those are two of the characters that I see people talking about a lot, and I'm terrified because I couldn't fight Alex when he sucked, and now I've got to fight him when he's good. Oh, Jesus Christ, this is not going to be fun for me. So we'll see how that goes, but, he definitely seems like a character who has grown in strength quite a bit. And then Kage, I mean, people are joking that Daigo has dropped Guile for Kage. Remember, Daigo was a big evil Ryu player in Street Fighter 4 at the end, so maybe this will be fun for him to have a Shoto again. But those are the two that stand out the most. I don't feel like anyone lost. Like, I don't feel like anyone got nerfed to the point of uselessness. At least I haven't been hearing any doom and gloom. I mean, okay, I've been hearing doom and gloom, but not credible doom and gloom, okay? Let's just put it that way, so.
Well, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know enough about Street Fighter 5 to be like, yeah, this character is a winner and this one's a loser.
Yeah.
I do find it really funny that they put all the really exciting bonkers type stuff in the trailer, and then the rest of the patch. I mean, when the patch notes came out, I was yelling at David in one of our group chats, basically that this is not the patch you or anyone else thought it was going to be. It's very, for the most part, it's pretty tame. I was really hoping they were going to let the strong characters rock and just be strong and make everyone strong, and they didn't do that. So I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, this character is clearly amazing and this character sucks now. But
I do want to.
I wish. Oh, go ahead.
No, I just do want to add in terms of losers of the patch. Have you seen what they did to Karin's crouching medium kick?
Yep. Well, I was actually just about to say they added a lot of recovery frames to everyone, so that's gonna affect the way footsies work, and Karin players can hold that shit.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna change footsies for her, for Cammy, for Urian, for Dalsum, a few other characters that they added some whiff recovery to, and not just whiff recovery, but like made the hurt boxes a little bit more attackable as well. So yeah, that's true. I agree. I think that the big winner is Alex. I think he's the guy who comes out on top from this. I already thought that he wasn't like the worst character, but yeah, he's still been in the bottom half of things like the entirety of SF5's life. Now I don't really think he's going to be top tier, but I think he'll be like a really good character that if you are an Alex fan and you're Problem X and you've wanted to play Alex for like the last 5 years in big tournaments, now you can. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which is great. So I think that's cool. He really stands out to me. As far as the losers go, I think you're looking at Urian. I think you're looking at Karen and maybe a Boxer, and that's about it. Luke, I think, is still very strong.
Definitely Honda.
Cammy is still very strong. Honda did not get nerfed.
Honda got nerfed.
Honda did not get nerfed.
You're just in denial.
This guy's been trying to rag on me.
You're just in denial.
And basically, and Rashid got nerfed. Like there were some nerfs here and there, but by and large, almost everything else was buffs. And even for characters who got some nerfs, I think in every case there was also some other buff, even if it wasn't like something that was huge. Every character who did get nerfed also got buffed in some ways. So that's great to see. I would say that characters that I feel like are going a bit under the radar right now, one of them's Dalsum. When we first read the patch notes, I saw that Dalsum's stand medium kick pushed back less, and I was like, oh no, I can't get to good positions as well. And then I played him, and I was like, oh yes, I can now just mash stand medium kick, and you can't get pushed out until I do like 6 of them. So I've done all this gray life, and in the meantime, you've had to take a risk each time to get around it, or you've taken all this gray life before you get pushed out. So they also did nerf him in a couple of other ways, but they also buffed him in a couple of other ways. He was really good before. Some of his bad matchups, I think, were actually among the ones that were nerfed. So I think he's sitting pretty at the time.
I mean, like, here's a question though. I haven't tested it yet, but after he air teleports, isn't he in that counter hit knockdown state now?
Yeah. He's in counter hit state, yeah.
Isn't that really bad? Because before, Dhalsim's used to teleport to the other side, except getting jabbed, just so they can kind of get out of the corner. But now they get knocked down and have the potential to be hit by a much bigger combo.
That's a terrible trade. Why would you want to get air reset?
No, Dhalsim. Yeah, no, I don't think anybody strong with Dhalsim has been doing random teleport in that way for a long time.
Okay.
Like you cover it with Fireball, you cover it with something else.
Right.
Very, very rare to see that. So I really don't think that's a big deal.
She got worse in this patch.
Yeah, Chen did get a little bit nerfed. That's right. Yeah. In the same way that they kind of made footsies a little bit more whiff punishable in general, Chen was one of the characters that got that too.
She was good the last patch, yes.
Yes, definitely. And she's still good.
Only medium and heavy cause a juggle state. Still, same kind of situation. I mean, but yeah, like David was saying, Dhalsims just don't do that randomly.
Not a big deal. I think Dictator's looking really good right now. He was already really strong. He's still good up there.
Big for Lil mentions Gil. You know, Gil being the shmup character now.
Yeah. Very cool stuff. Yeah. It's just really easy, much easier for him to apply the elemental stuff, which is interesting. So they leaned into the interesting side of that character, which is great. I think Falk is looking really good right now. I really like some of the stuff that I'm seeing out of there.
And also, then I just want to mention to Shay, who asked the question, what's the difference between the EX and meter burn? In NRS games, it was like you do the special move, and then you add on the EX power up afterwards, so you can kind of hit confirm it a little bit. And so both Falk and Ed can do that now. Like Falk can shoot the regular shot into an EX shot, basically. Yeah. So you use the meter after you've used the regular one.
Yeah, Ryu got buffed. I mean, again, basically everybody got buffed. As far as the characters that I'm interested in, I would say Honda a little bit better. Zangief, slightly better.
In denial.
Really not a big deal. And then Dan, significantly better. They really helped out his normals, his frame traps, his damage output. Like, he is a lot better. And Dhalsim, they tried to nerf him. I don't think that they did a very good job. I think he's really good.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm actually pretty happy with Lucia's changes. She's not going to become... You're still not going to see her in any CPT top 8s outside of Will Tupac and maybe Xiao Bao. But, like, she's definitely stronger now. So she's probably more mid now. So I don't think she's, like, bottom 5 like she used to be. So the light burn kick change, I think, helps a lot. Like, I think that one is the one that is going under the radar that's bigger than most people think it is. So...
Well,
pretty happy about
got
overall.
nerfed, and Blanca is still not in the game, so I'm not coming back.
They did make some changes to Blanca,
fun,
but not
actually.
Not in the ways that I think the character really needed. I'll be honest.
It's just, that's not Blanca to me. He plays differently from every other version of the character in existence. So
yeah, he's a different guy. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's not my Blanca.
I like him in this one though. I think he's
cool as shit. Yeah, I don't dislike him. He's just not a character I want to play.
Oh, but thanks. Big for Little's also saying that Jury is strong now. That's good. I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, Jury looks good. I think there's a lot of positivity in the patch. So I guess we'll see. All right.
Yes, we'll see.
Let's move on.
You know where
Capcom Pro Tour.
You know where we will see it? In the Capcom Pro Tour 2022. Dun, dun, dun.
It has been announced. Online premieres, offline premieres, and also World Warrior events, which are basically dojo events from the Tekken World Tour, so people can create their own effectively. Yeah, everybody should. Every single Pro Tour should.
It's a good idea to steal.
Mm-hmm.
Super good idea.
So, I mean, I would love to see stuff like the online local, NLBC, Wednesday Night Fights, all of these things become, major parts of that.
That would be cool.
It would definitely be cool, yeah. So, very cool to see that. And let's see, I'm bringing up the thing now. So 48 players in total will qualify for it. 19 online regional premieres across 19 territories. It's basically all the same regions as before. So last time they really expanded it, right? They had NA, not just West and East, but Midwest as well. They had South Africa in there. Oh, that's great. Midwesterner.
Why would you say it like that? But Midwest as well.
Finally, Midwest.
We shouldn't have been there the whole time.
No, I'm glad it is like that. It definitely should be like that. And there's UK and France, Portugal, Spain, and Western Europe. So they have all these different regions, which is great. That's exactly how it should be working. They have they have Caribbean, they have Central America, like they have all these regions. Really happy about that. I will say they did say no Russia and no Belarus.
Okay. They didn't add anything in the middle of like Central Africa or anything like that, right? So it's still just South Africa and Middle East are the most representation we have.
I believe so. Yeah, I don't think that there's a Northern Africa. Not that I saw as I was looking through there. So this starts soon, actually. The first one is North America West, and that is April 30th, so only a month away.
Dang. Okay.
So starting pretty soon now.
Gonna expect my phone call. Go do some commentary.
For the online one. The offline stuff, again, they're going to be doing offline events at FGC Majors. It specifically says will take place at existing FGC Majors, which is great. The winner of each offline event will automatically qualify for Capcom Cup. They did not. They did not. Not that I saw. Not that I saw. So
I don't know.
Yeah, you got another. Yeah. Winners for the online premiere will split a prize pool of $5,000. Details on the offline events will be available at a later date, including presumably if there's any prize extras, that kind of stuff.
I'm sure they're
and like I said, World Warriors will be there as well, which is what they're calling basically dojos.
Yeah, same here. Big for a little revitalizing Wednesday night fights, and this is a little off topic here, but you see a Filipino man's video recently. What'd you think of that? Oh, you didn't see his video?
No.
Where he was dressed up in the suit and everything like that?
He came out and was ear to the digital streets. And
he came out and basically called out Rob TV, talking about the Midwest being better than West Coast. And he got Chris CCH and Flaquito in suits, and they showed up.
Listen.
They signed
a contract. We already know that the West Coast always gets Street Fighter weeks first. So Anton and the boys saw that Karrion got nerfed, and they're like, "Okay, now's our time to go after Rob.
Absolutely.
We can finally take him out." But little did they know, they didn't read over the Mika patch notes. My boy Joey gets the West Coast single-handed. So they best hope that Rob overlooks Joey somehow, because I like Joey over all of them. Free.
On the other hand, Rose got some big buffs.
On that.
Yeah,
Sakura's looking good.
Yeah,
Akuma's looking good.
They could have Gil from Third Strike with Resurrection. I still like Joey.
Woo. This guy.
In any case, West Coast is clearly stronger than Midwest, and so we're going to have. No, I mean, good. I'm glad. I want this. Like I said, I like kind of going with the trash talk stuff that was showing up on Twitter recently. I like this regional trash talk. Regional, rivalries is so important to me, and it's like the backbone of so much of what FGC has been all about. I like that they're doing these World Warrior events because that promotes the regions and such. I'm sure Japan's going to have a bunch of those as well, and it might revitalize a lot of things, and having Filipino man kind of stir the pot a little bit like that. Let's do it. I want that kind of energy because honestly, I've been one of the people who thinks that SoCal's kind of been lacking recently. I haven't been very, candid. I mean, I'm not secretive about that. I feel like we haven't been able to keep up as well as some of the other regions, and so I want to see this energy. I want to bring this energy out. I want
maybe they'll have
and all those
after
guys.
They play the Midwest, because you're not going to get a good feeling about SoCal
but
after.
Dude, again, that's important because Bar Fights 2 was one of the most infamous things where the East Coast flew out and 5-0'd us twice in a row of 10 different players. A second 5-0 that wasn't even supposed to be played, that was played, and East Coast got to use all their secondary characters, including Sanford using Dan in Street Fighter 4, and we still got 5-0'd. And what did that do? That started Wednesday night fights in the garage, that started everyone getting better, that started the Andy OCRs and the Mark Teddys and, Alex Myers and Chris Tatarians and stuff like that. So do it. Like, let's get 5-0. Let's get 5-0, and I think that would make us stronger. I think, like I said,
let's get 5-0.
Dude, seriously, I think it's so important. Regional rivalries, I think, is super important, and West Coast has almost always come together pretty strongly.
Are you saying the West Coast is like, they're like Saiyans, and when you get defeated, you just come back stronger?
Yeah.
Like, that's how it works? Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I no longer care about any of that stuff. If it works for other people, that's cool.
What?
I just don't care about it.
Listen,
I don't know.
David's busy watching Frasier, baking sourdough bread.
Wow.
He's an adult now, okay? He doesn't care about such things that children care about, like rivalries of the coasts, okay?
I feel like it was never super important to me, but it was a little bit important to me, and now it's just not. But if it is for other people still, that's cool. I hope everybody enjoys themselves.
It's still so important to me. Like I said, to me, the entire FGC was bred off of that because, like I said, I have a history of arcade versus arcade, then NorCal versus SoCal, then East Coast versus West Coast, then US versus EU, and then Midwest versus Coast. No coast versus coast. Like, that stuff to me is the backbone of the FGC. I think it creates so much value in our community, honestly.
Well, as far as the Capcom Pro Tour goes, I don't actually have that many other details. That's about it. There'll be 48 players who qualify for it. I don't know when the last part of it is happening. I do know that it will go at least until December 3rd, which is the last one that's currently scheduled for the online events. North America East is that day. So it's most of the year. Usually these things have ended in December, but this last one ended in February, so who knows? Who knows? That's about that. Anything else to say on this?
Someone says that you have a Niles Crane impression. That's 100% spot on. So
I don't.
I want
Sorry.
to see your Niles Crane impression.
Do it.
I'm not a big Frasier fan.
That's just wildly untrue.
I just picture David, with his tossed salad and scrambled eggs, definitely.
I'm a fan of their dad. Their dad's the best character. You don't even know the show. You guys are bragging on me.
I watch that show.
Oh, I definitely know the show. I definitely know the show.
You don't even know the show, and here you are trying to brag on me.
Anything Kelsey Grammer is involved in. No interest at all.
All right. The dog is pretty great. I agree with that.
Dog named Eddie. Hello. Come on. It's just so dad is Zato.
Let's move on.
Let's move on here.
Testament and Strive. Testament has been released early for season pass holders, but now should be out for everybody. Officially released today, I believe. So I don't know if anybody's had a chance to try them out. David, Tubo?
I have not. I've seen some stuff that looks cool.
Tried them, but yeah, I've seen plenty of stuff. I've been watching Sajam play Testament as well.
Okay.
What about you, James?
I messed with them in training mode a little bit, and it's interesting because I kind of got a little bit of the same thing that I got with Biken, which was their combo routes seem kind of limited. Now, people have been finding good combo routes, but a lot of them are kind of the optimized, here's this perfect situation and I get this cool instant air dash jump combo kind of thing, which is not as clear and easy to land in Strive as it has been in previous games and such. But so like when I was messing with Testament, you could do like slash, heavy slash, and if you do it from the farthest range possible, there's not a single move Testament has that combos. Like if you cancel the heavy slash, nothing combos from that range, not even the Exy Beasts from the ground or the sky combo in the situations. But I did find out that just gives you enough time because it still knocks him into the air. You can throw the ground fireball and stuff, so more of like adding pressure. And then I saw Justin tweet about Testament, and he showed a clip of what he was doing with Testament, And I was watching that and I was like, yeah, that seems more right. And he was just using Testament in the way Justin would use a character. Just sit across the screen and throw fireballs and crows
buttons,
and fireballs and crows and just use the range. I mean, literally was almost playing it like an amped up Manat from Street Fighter V. And it looked super annoying. And the cool thing about it is if you block the crow, you get put into that state. What was stain state? And so every random small thing that hits leads into something bigger. So like Testament has a taco kick like Iori does. You know, you jump and hit kick, and it kicks backwards, causes no hit stun. And I was like, how is this ever going to be useful? I completely forgot about the stain state. So if you even tick them with it, they blow up and pop up, and then all of a sudden you get combo off of it. Every fire button hits, causes that to happen. And so, it's just really annoying. So Justin, the way that he was playing Testament was throwing out everything. You'd block a crow, he'd hit one button, and then you'd blow up and pop up, and then he'd be able to combo off of that. And it was just really kind of neat watching it, because it actually felt like more active zoning than even a character like Axel could do. And what was cool about that is that's really kind of to the spirit of how Testament was in the first place. Although in the games where Testament was really strong, it was more about stupid Testament loops for like 10 hours. But I was glad to see that Testament has a zoning aspect there, and I'm actually kind of for it, honestly. Yeah, the taco kick is Iori. They've just called it. It's been being called the taco kick since like KOF 95, dude. So,
I do not know the origin of that, but that's.
I think it
probably
has
an interesting story there.
It has something to do with the name, or like he would say something
I put the definition in the chat.
Oh,
the
does
glossary.
he actually? Does he
Shout
have
out to Infil's glossary.
Does he actually have the
taco? It's in
history. Oh, it originated from the Spanish word tacon, referring to the heel of Iori's foot.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
The tacon kick. So it was the tacon kick, and now it's the taco kick.
That's awesome. Okay, I didn't know. That's really cool. Yeah, from what I've seen of Testament, they look cool too. I've seen kind of the same gameplay, not from Justin, but from other people. I was briefly watching around on Twitch of kind of that neutral heavy control. And then if the opponent is in stain state, then you can kind of stab in a little bit more and try things out. And then if not, no big deal. You go back to having control in mid-range. And that looks like it's fun gameplay to me. Like that looks like just the kind of stuff that I think would be fun to do. So I like it. I think they look really cool.
Yeah, that whole stain state thing is really awesome. Like I didn't realize how it worked in the video. I wasn't sure how it worked. It literally just stays on them, and the first thing that hits them just triggers it, and they blow up. So it's
on
just
hit or block too. So you get more
Yeah.
frame advantage on block as well.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like an auto combo extender, and I didn't realize that's how it worked. And when I found out, I was like, that's kind of neat. And so there is an impetus to curse people, which was a big part of Testament's game before, which was to curse people. And so, having the crow do that and giving this kind of a power up, I just think it's really, really cool.
I agree. Yeah, I think they definitely look cool. Any sense on how well Testament fits into the game, like in terms of strength or anything like that?
I think they're a character that's very similar to, why is her name blanking? The character with the robots, Jacko. I think she's I think they're a Jacko situation, where at first everybody's gonna think that Testament's weak. Oh, they're not good. They're not good. They're not good. And then 4 or 5 months from now, they're gonna be like, "Oh, wait a minute, this character might actually be kind of a problem."
Like Zato too, right? I mean,
Dude,
Zato.
Yeah, I mean Zato to an extent, but I think Zato was figured out quicker than Jacko was. Jacko took a little bit more time.
Yeah,
Okay.
And
Jacko
I
took
think
a little
that's
more
what
time.
Testament will be as well.
And
Okay.
it's happening with Happy Chaos too. Happy Chaos is starting to win most like big tournaments now.
I mean, even after getting nerfed, right?
Yeah, because Happy Chaos is clearly really kind of stupid, but like
Yeah, that character is good.
but very, very difficult to use. So it's one of those situations again. But
Is he?
yeah, so like I mean,
No.
Some of the like pseudo infinite block strings do require really fast. Like it's kind of like fly unfly stuff with Morgan, you know, and it's.
Oh, don't get me started on Morgan. Morgan, talking about Marvel 3 Morgan.
Yeah.
Morgan players fooled all of you. She's not that hard.
Whatever.
They fooled all of you.
Whatever.
All of you are fooled by. I am not. Peter, you are correct. I am not impressed by Morgan. Happy Chaos can be plenty hard, but Morgan, that's a lie.
Whatever.
That's a lie.
Jesus. And yeah, we have a day of OBS Ninja being weird for David's camera again. So
Yep.
It's VDO Ninja, okay?
Video
Golly,
Ninja,
they rebranded.
sorry, when it's got
They're going to sue you.
So no significant balance patch came with this in terms of the characters. They're holding off on that until the next season.
Good.
Yes.
The game is in a great state. I mean, honestly, if you ask me, like, is there anybody who really needs to be nerfed or anybody who really needs to be buffed? I mean, I can name you the characters that I think deserve nerfs and buffs, but none of them are like, oh my god, like this character needs super help, you know, like, you know, obviously, like,
You know, James, I think it's funny that you're like, this is such a great thing. They're not patching. Like, this is, I think the game's in a good state because I agree with you on all those fronts. But also, this is Arxis, and anything we like about the game right now, just expect it to go away. Expect it to just it's going to be gone. Season 2 is going to have a ridiculously silly patch. Everybody's going to be up in arms. And who knows if it'll be fun still. That's the truth.
That is, I mean, obviously there's a history and a precedent for that, but
yes.
I don't think that's the case anymore, especially with Strive, right? I mean, obviously it happened with Grand Blue and Dragon Ball, but those are also owned by different companies as well, right? They can't even put in rollback into them. But for Strive, they've been doing everything possible to listen to what fans have been saying and stuff. And I think they've been doing actually a fantastic job with that. So I have lots of faith.
Any fighting game devs ever. Like, it's not that I think they even do bad jobs. It's just, if you expect disappointment, you can't be disappointed, right?
Boy.
Like, that's just kind of
Jesus,
how I am.
I'm gonna bring Keats on here to talk to you about this one, dude. Like, do you not trust him either?
No, I don't trust Arxis. I really love Grand Blue, and then the first big balance patch came.
I remember.
Yeah, but like I said,
flat out.
I don't know if
Dragon Ball, I couldn't
Yeah,
get through.
he's been hurt too many times, definitely.
Again, neither of those games
I'm
are
paid.
under control by Arxis, so that's the thing. So and again, like I said, Guilty Gear Strive has been doing everything exactly the opposite of that, and so I think there's enough.
I will believe it when I see it and season 2 comes out and nothing too wild happens and it's a fun game, but I think they're probably going to change a bunch of mechanics. I think they'll probably add some. That's what they've been doing with these games for the most part.
Look, Duck Helmet, as time has gone on, it's becoming clearer and clearer that Potemkin is actually one of the weaker characters in Strive. Potemkin has had massive grappler syndrome, in which they come out of the gate and they're super good, and now everybody knows how to fight him, and now he's not super good anymore.
He got what he deserved.
That's how it is.
I mean, he got buffed, so yeah, he did deserve it. So, you know.
No, I mean, getting caught on too.
That's how it goes. That's how it always goes.
Absolutely.
Or very often goes anyway.
Yeah.
As far as Testament goes, I think that they look really cool. I love the animations. Very well done on that side. Yeah, for sure. The voice acting is sick.
Dude, they look so cool.
Definitely agree with that.
Oh, man.
Anything else to say on Testament?
Yeah, the 2v2 thing might actually show up at some point, Tyrone, because remember that was a feature they advertised very early on, was a 2v2 thing. You know, it was like for fighting against the computer or something like that, only on PS5.
Yeah, and it was only available on PS5.
Yeah, but
PC.
it wasn't even available on PS5, right? That doesn't exist even on the PS5 version. So,
True.
you know, clearly they're gonna add, again. You can tell the pandemic screwed them up. You like you know, the lobby system, the private lobbies where you're supposed to be able to decorate your own house, all that stuff like that.
Right.
Like I said, the very first beta we got, there was a realtor in the lobby. Like, clearly they had intention of doing something, and it got all erased because of the pandemic. So
Yep, we'll see how it comes out in season 2.
Yeah.
They did announce that there will be crossplay, but not yet. Not yet.
Not yet. So.
Yeah, with season 2, a few months, no big deal.
Yeah, it will
Hold your
come.
horses. Yeah,
All right, cool.
it will.
Are you guys good to go?
Well, before we go to break, don't I have a job here to do or something?
I
Your
think
job,
you do.
James.
Do your job.
All right. So again, if you guys see on the bottom of the screen there, we are now sponsored by Manscaped here.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know that Tubo, so use the coupon code UCTV for 20% off of your orders. Tubo last week, you know, talked about his experiences with it. Yes. And so, look, obviously I'm not going to be able to make this as entertaining as David and Tubo. So it's my turn to talk a little bit about my experiences. I'm just going to make this promo very straightforward and direct. Obviously, after hearing about their experiences last week, clearly David and Tubo can be a little more cheeky with the product, you know. So then
I am 90% hair, so it's a little different story.
So basically, I just want to say that I've honestly never really done anything like this before. So I was obviously a little apprehensive. I wasn't really sure I had the balls to go through with it. Also, because as an Asian dude, I don't have a lot of extra body hair, you know, in a lot of other regions. So I was kind of worried that I was getting the shaft by being unable to use the product as much. Also, just as a reminder to everybody, as talking about this experience, paid promo, have to get out of the way because legal reasons, blah, 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 and I am not a crook kind of a thing, you know, and actually, you know what, I'm going to take that back because Nixon is an asshole and I don't want to be anything like old Tricky Dick, so if I ever met him, I would definitely tell him, you suck, Dick. So, in any case, again, back to my very serious review here. You know, as I said, I was having a little trepidation, and I'm sure a lot of people out there were wondering about me. They were probably like wondering, would he actually use the product? You know, and I did find it actually very convenient and very safe. Actually, it was really easy to use. Like, I mean, Tubo mentioned last week that you have the flashlight on the product, right?
Yeah, there's a light right on the,
and it's
right
very
on the
convenient. And you can actually turn the light off if you want to, but interestingly enough, the device only has one button on it, and so if you use your finger and tap the button, it turns it on and off. But if you want to turn off the light, try finger but hold the button down for about 3 seconds to turn it off, and do the same thing again to turn the light back on. Anyways, just to kind of sum it up, look, I was probably nuts for feeling that kind of trepidation. Honestly, while using it, I never felt any nicks or pricks at all during the use. This baby even comes with its own travel bag, so you can easily pack her up in your suitcase or in a carry-on package, you know, alongside your joystick that you can take on the airplane on your first, second, or third leg of the flight. You know, obviously that sucks if you have that many stopovers and stuff like that, but, you know, I do believe it will meet your expectations, and after using it, you will feel like a clear wiener. I know I did. So that's my take on it. Again, I apologize to everybody. I know, it was a little more serious and straightforward, and I wasn't able to do anything, goofy with the review. But that was my experience with it. Again, you can use UCTV for 20% off all of your orders on Manscaped. So there you go.
Manscaped.com.
Yeah.
20% off your order. And free shipping.
Get 20% off and free shipping with the code UCTV at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com and use code UCTV. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped TM.
Yep. In any case, I think we're going to go to break, and when we come back, we'll be bringing on Logan Sama, talk a little bit about Street Fighter patch and such. So be right back, guys, and stay tuned. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the Tuesday show. We are going to be bringing on a very special guest all the way from across the Atlantic. It's very late for them, so thank you very much to none other than Mr. Logan Sama. Hi, Logan. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. It was worth staying up this late just to hear your beautiful promo.
Well, I mean, it was just very straightforward and very serious and normal. Yeah. So I just
directly to the point.
Exactly. Yep. I mean, I've definitely gotten advice.
No beating around the bush, was there?
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that was just the tip that a lot of people gave me to tell to go with. Yeah. So there you go.
Nice work, everybody. We by the way, we've all been practicing this. This is the third time that we've had since rehearsals that we've practiced this. That's true. Good job, everybody. Great work. Great work. We all nailed it. So yeah, thanks a lot for coming on. Much obliged. Happy to talk to you. I hope that things are going well out there. Looking forward to seeing you at some point. But let's start by talking about definitely that. Let's start by talking about how it is that you got into the competitive FGC. What's your backstory?
Oh, damn. Okay. So I'm a filthy 09er.
Hey, 09ers, rise up, baby.
I saw Street Fighter 4 somewhere. I can't even remember where I saw it now, but it was on like the internet somewhere. And I just thought, wow, this game looks exactly like Street Fighter 2, but with all the characters in like 3D models and not shit like EX. Like they actually look good. So for me, like that instantly caught me. And I have like somewhat of an obsessive personality. So when I find something and it like pings off the neurons in the brain and the dopamine starts dumping, I kind of go and research it. And, I'm finding all this footage of guys playing in the arcade in Japan. I think the thing that made me really get excited about Street Fighter as a competitive endeavor was a match between Daigo and Momochi in the arcade using Ryu and Akuma. And I saw like Momochi punish a focus attack with Akuma's sweep cancelled into Raging Demon. And it just, wow, this is the coolest shit I've ever seen. And I went out and did the same thing that I do with every hobby, which is buy all the equipment. So I bought myself a stick because I'd found out that all the good players play in the arcade and learning on pad is a waste of time because you won't be able to use your pad in the arcade. So, you need to know how to use stick. How ironic that is now. I'm an 09er, but I feel like a massive boomer saying that at the same time. So, but yeah, learned that. And then I started just going to some of the arcades in London and just getting beaten up by people like F-Word and Ryan Hart and Zach Bennett and Andreas and some of the players around at that time that were, just going there every day and picking up the game and learning. And
I mean, you got initiated right away. Then it wasn't like going to a local arcade first. You went straight to the big boys arcade.
That was the local.
The local,
arcade.
right?
Like,
yeah,
it's only a small room. Like it's the floor that had the Street Fighter cabs in is smaller than the front room I'm sitting in now in my apartment. Jeez. Like it was really cramped. It was so the big difference with arcades in the UK and arcades in America is they're all full of like the first floor is always full of like fruit machines, slot machines. Always, it's always because gambling isn't completely legal as long as you have a license anywhere in the country. So those things are kept open basically by people gambling in them. And then downstairs they had like the games that people would come and hang around and linger. And there was only a few locations that actually had Street Fighter 4 cabs because they, remember when they came out, they were hugely expensive. And not many places had them at all. So we went there, and that's where everyone was at, hanging out, and the best players went there. And I would just go and just absorb. And I'd try and go home and learn and practice, but my internet connection was really bad where I was living. So I wasn't able to really get to that level of competition where I could put the time and effort into, and it made me just become more of an enjoyer of the community rather than someone that believed that they could compete at any point. Sure. And I was DJing a lot. I was still on radio, doing radio every week. I was playing out every weekend. So like my free time was certainly not to the point at which I could play for hours every day. So these guys are just pulling further and further ahead of me anyway. I discovered offline events. I went to a large event called SVB, which is like our biggest event that we had in the country in 2009. And again, it was really cool because in my DJing work, a lot of people that were into Street Fighter, I don't know if you've seen the community in London, but it's very, like, there's a lot of black guys in the community in London. So there's a lot of people that were fans of what I was doing in music, which meant it was really welcoming for me. And I felt like I wanted to put something back in, even though I wasn't really able to play that well. So I started running like small gatherings. They weren't really tournaments or anything. They were gatherings. So I'd hire a LAN cafe called Gamer Base in one of our music places. I just invited everyone to come down and just play for free and just train up together in an offline environment really to prepare for 2010 SVB, which Mad Catz flew Daigo over. PR Rog came over as well, and all the French players came over. And I was like, yeah, man, like I really want our players to be as match fit as possible. So we'll do this and put it on. And that weekly get together is what became Winner Stays On. We started actually making it a tournament so people would take it seriously, because you get to a point where it's a session. The stronger players would just beat everybody and then not really take it seriously and start mucking around. And I could see that they weren't really, they plateaued because they could beat all the people around them. Right. So I started, putting little enticements like 50, 80, 100 pounds into a prize pot off the back of my DJing work, so that they would actually take it seriously all the way to the end. So they wanted to play each other and beat each other. At the same point, we got involved with a guy called Worst Geef Ever, who is James Bardolph, who's gone on to do amazing things in the Counter-Strike community. Yep. But he just showed up. He was like, yeah, I actually want to stream. Like this streaming thing's pretty cool. I'm going to show up with my suitcase and my kit. And then we just started randomly streaming. And we'd get people tuning in from North America. We'd get people tuning in from Europe. And it was really cool. We built up this community. We start building up personalities. I'm seeing new players come through, younger players that are starting to challenge the older guys. So you've got younger guys like Iota and Andreas and Slizzle that were competing against your Ryan Harts and your F-Words that are more seasoned in like Third Strike and older games. And then, of course, this guy called Problem X came through as well. And you might have heard of him. He went on and did a few things.
I think he did all right. Yeah, he did okay.
Yeah. So from there, I kind of was just showing up and running Street Fighter 4 one night, Marvel 3 another night in 2010. And because I had the broadcast background from the radio as a DJ, and I had like all this obsessive knowledge that my hands would not let me translate into gameplay, I ended up kind of like hosting on the mic on the live stream, and we ended up getting opportunities to commentate at events around Europe. So I got to go to DreamHack.
I mean, honestly, I still remember one of the first ones that I remember distinctly hearing you was the Gandhi FSP match. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And we were well seasoned because we're commentating every week without fail. We're commentating every week in London. These guys, we know the game back to front. Like, we're obsessively watching videos of the best players in the world as well, because that was the time in which, Spooky did the 24-hour stream of Super Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
We're starting to watch all these American events that blew our mind at the scope and the size of these events that were being put on as well. And we'd all get together and we'd watch Evo and what have you. And it was in like 2012, I think, that I went to Evo first time. 2011, a bunch of our players went over with Western Wolves, which was the team that Ryan Hart organized. So you had F-Word and Andreas. Yeah. They also signed Heel Shall Not Be Named and Laugh as well to that team.
Right. Yeah.
So they did and they got the players out, and it was awesome to see that opportunity. And we were at home cheering everyone on. And that just made me, like, everything that I just experienced in terms of this competitive endeavor just made me more and more interested each time. Each step that it just grabbed me. Hooks sank further into me with each thing that I experienced, so yeah.
Had you had other, you talk about kind of obsessiveness and love of competition. Had you had that kind of experience with previous games or scenes beforehand? No.
Huh.
Yeah, that was my first thing. Like, I liked PvP Arena in Warcraft.
Okay.
But not obsessively.
Okay.
I mean,
because again, that just took the hours were mad. I played Warcraft when it first came out. World of Warcraft when it first came out for like 12 hours a day when I was in university, and
David knows about that.
Unfortunately, yes. Yeah.
and then like I think about 2.5 years in, like I kind of thankfully had an awakening and just sort of cold turkeyed it. But other than that, like that actual competitive aspect, no, never before. I mean, like I was mad into sports. I love playing sports.
I was going to ask about sports. Yeah, was that something that you used to do?
Yeah, loads. I'd play tons and tons of sports. Okay. Like 2 different sports in the summer, 2 different sports in the winter. I've always loved American sports. Through my dad, like my dad was a big fan of American sports. I've always loved pro wrestling. I've always loved comics. So like my affinity for American culture in that side of things has always been quite high as well. But in terms of like competitive, no, not really. But
I mean, like
in terms of
like, what about the DJ scene though? Is there a little bit of like, obviously you want to be the best at doing what you're doing. Like,
of course, and the music that I play is like really MC focused as well. So they have like clashes and
I was gonna say you've been in battles and stuff, right?
And stuff. Yeah, and the style of music that I play is like born from dancehall in Jamaica and that sound system culture. So there's you can show off as a DJ by having special edits of tracks that the artists have put your name in, and you'll get a little big status props. And I mean, you've seen from like how I dress at events, I like showing off and having things that other people don't have.
Right.
And that comes across in the music a lot as well. Like I love having new music. I love having songs that people can't get yet, or like exclusive stuff like that. So competitive, I guess, to be good was always there. And that's kind of like why it hurt me so much that I couldn't put the time and effort into playing to get to that level. Because I could see what it took. I could see what I needed to do. But for me, it was just like a repetition thing to get the muscle memory down. I was literally 20 minutes before I came on air, I was playing a set with Problem X online, and I'm with punishing Psycho Axe into standing medium punch nothing with Ken and cursing at my screen and stuff. And like, I'm still doing it now. Literally, it's a meme in the London community. Like my combo drops are a meme. There's a video of me playing. There's a video of me playing Tyrant in a tournament from like 2015, I think, at Versus Fighting, and it's my Dudley against his M Bison, and like the combo drops in that will have you rolling on the floor. Like I'd absolutely punch the crap out of him. I'd get the stun, and then I'd just drop the stun combo, and then he'd come back and almost perfect OCV me and stuff, and I ended up losing the set. And I'm just on camera just laughing at myself because I'm so used to it. But yeah, just in terms of the competitive side of it, I just love excellence. Like I'm a big fan of excellence. I really like to celebrate it. And I think that's the coolest thing about fighting games, regardless of any politics or any posturing or smack talk or privilege that you might have or extra hand up, it's completely like based on the results of the game. And that, the hard work that you put in is completely rewarded. The best people are the best people because they are working the hardest and they're working the smartest and they are the most gifted. And I love just experiencing that. And I think that comes across in my commentary, mine and F-Word's commentary, that we try and make these finals and these top eights as grandiose as possible because they are the best players in the world. And I just love that. I get so much passion and pleasure from it.
Talking about commentary, you do have this long experience in music and broadcasting. And I'm curious whether you see many similarities or differences maybe between that style of kind of mic and talent work and fighting game commentary.
I think that being comfortable expressing your passion for something on a microphone is very valuable in fighting games in general, because if you can be eloquent in your excitement, that translates to the viewers. And when the viewers can invest in the moment, I think that is the height of commentary for me. People that are able to commentate in a way that just, it makes you feel like what's going on in this screen is the only thing that's happening in the world at that time. And they're the greatest commentators for me across whatever sport or game or whatever it is they're commentating. I think that's the pinnacle of it for me. And for me, I've always been very good at speaking about things I'm passionate about. I don't think there's much in terms of the technical aspect, because for me, like radio presentation is, I'm playing a record for 3 minutes. I don't say a word. And then I come in and I do a short link and I'm back out again. So if anything, it's more like desk host experience. And I have been asked to do that. So I did it recently at Arc Revo in EMEA for Guilty Gear. I did it at Intel World Open for that in Poland. And I think realistically, my broadcast experience in radio makes me good as a desk host and a presenter. But I think it's just natural to be able to commentate fighting games. I think it's very hard to teach how to be truly great at commentating fighting games. You can teach people to be competent, but to be like, you can't teach people how to be Steve or Yipes. It's impossible. I can't teach you how to be F-Word. It's not possible. Those people are like, I feel like I could potentially teach someone to be Sajam, but it would take me years and years of studying information and being able to explain situations. But that passionate commentator is something that you just have in you, I think. But yeah, of course you can teach professionalism, but and I learned that on the radio. So yes, absolutely. Right. In some aspects of broadcast, I think it has helped.
I totally agree with you that there are many commentators who have kind of come to it almost accidentally and learned how to be strong. Steven's definitely one of those. But then, Tasty Steve and Yipes are the guys who are entertainers. Right. Like they were just entertainers. And I'm very glad that they happened to find their way into actually doing that for a living. That's important. Yeah. But they were that way before there was anything like a camera on them. That's just who they are.
Yeah. And I mean, let's also put it this way. I've also commentated with people who obviously were not passionate about what they were doing. And, that you could tell it was just, a gig for them. And you can feel it.
You mean like when you were commentating Street Fighter Cross Tekken, James?
Yes, 100%. I mean, this is why I said I will never commentate a game that I do not have that kind of interest in anymore. Right. Like Street Fighter Cross Tekken taught me a very valuable lesson, honestly, and I will never do that again. So
I've been a viewer of you both for 10 years plus, and there's definitely been periods in your Street Fighter careers where you've been commentating the game, and I can sense that you're not enamored with the state of the game at that moment in time. Maybe for a season or what have you. And then obviously, as we all are as people, we come round again and we find things that we love in it, and it excites us again, and we find the beauty in the play. But I think that, it's very evident when there's some people that will take jobs because it's a payday, and they not only can they not adequately break down what's happening on the screen, but also there's not true excitement.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's kind of canned excitement at moments as well. And I think it's very difficult to manufacture that aspect of it.
You know, you've been studiously sticking to Street Fighter almost entirely. I can only think of a few examples where you've not. And I guess the recent one was the Arxis thing, although you were in more of the host role.
Yeah.
Have you considered branching out, or are you just really, is Street Fighter the game for you?
So I'm pretty sure I am like mildly autistic. I'm pretty sure I am. I'm actually going to be evaluated for ASD this year. I was diagnosed with ADHD last year, which was very liberating, and I'm going to be referred this year for ASD because it was recommended to do so.
Interesting.
Sure.
And my brain creates rules. And one of those rules is, this is the thing. It's exactly the same with my music, by the way, and also exactly so. This weird fixation with one thing is something that carries across many of my interests. I only play grime music. I have had the opportunity and the skill and ability to play other genres of music, which would allow me, in exactly the same way that it would if I commentated other games, I could get a few more gigs in. I could play here and here and here instead of just here. It's exactly the same. I only play grime. I famously only play grime. I love Warhammer. All these books here, these are all Warhammer rule books that are like $60 each. They come out once every 2 months with rules in. I've got a stupid collection of miniatures as well. I love that competitive game as well. I've just discovered that over the last 5 years as a competitive endeavor. I only care about Space Marines in that. Like, I don't care about I will not play any other faction in that game as well. I only care about Marvel Comics. I cannot bring myself to really care about DC Comics. I just like Marvel characters.
I mean, I understand that. That's good.
So
That's logic,
form these rules in my brain where it's like, this is the thing that I like, and I just can't bring myself to put the time into it. Listen, I went and did the Arc Revo thing. Obviously, I appreciate excellence in all its forms. I had the privilege of watching Latif play, and you know what he was doing with Zato was mind-boggling. I had a rudimentary grasp of what he was doing when the resources with Eddie were explained to me, and it makes it even. It's like when you watch Evo Moment 37, and you hear the crowd hype, and you think, yeah, this must be really hype. Then you kind of break down actually what's happening there and why it's so good, and then you're like, oh my, this is even more amazing than I realized. So I kind of appreciated that, and I got I've got myself a copy of Strive, and I just haven't brought myself to play it yet. Not because I just don't want to, or I just haven't been able to bring myself to do it yet for whatever reason. I'm very busy because obviously the last 2 years I DJ and I commentate. They're the two things I do. All the clubs have been shut. All the offline events have been shut, and we all know what the budgets are for online events, don't we, gentlemen?
Yes.
It's not the same. So I've been really, really focusing very hard on trying to get my businesses in order. So I haven't really got as much time. But I tried to learn Marvel. I tried to learn Dragon Ball Fighters. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But Street Fighter, yeah. I mean, even with characters, look, I've tried to learn Kage and Luke. I end up going back to playing Ken. It's the same before. Like, the only time I've ever switched is when I spend hours and hours and hours in vanilla Street Fighter 4 trying to learn Akuma hard kick loops, and then they took them out the game with Super. And I was like, this is just, and then so Akuma was dead to me. Like I just had a negative association. So I went to Dudley because I thought Dudley was really cool in Third Strike. Like he was just so rude and disdainful. So, that's the only time I've actually changed main.
In the chat, Taz asked, "Can Logan confirm that he is indeed the Logan all the grime artists are referring to in their lyrics?"
Yes, that's me.
That's awesome.
That is right.
To me, yes, I am that Logan. Yes.
I think that's really cool, though. I mean,
again,
talking about these kind of weird tics that we all have, and it's something that I talk about it a lot on social media a lot and stuff like that, and I think that's really important that we kind of normalize a lot of that stuff. And so I don't know, like, I don't want to say it's like really cool and fascinating to hear about that side of you. Obviously, we'd all rather not be in that way. I'm pretty sure I have ADHD, I just haven't been formally diagnosed because American healthcare, yay.
All four of the people on this call have either been diagnosed or strongly suspect that we have that. I mean, I don't think that it's not a coincidence. People who have that kind of
obsession,
that kind of brain, I think self-select into this kind of stuff.
I sat down with my girlfriend and showed her Street Fighter 5 when we started going out, because obviously it's such a big part of what I do, and she was like, how do you spend so long to learn all of this? Like, because normal people just want to pick something up and do things. Right, and when I explained to her, like, the kind of win condition of getting the most damage out and access to damage, she was like, I've got no. How do you put that amount of time in? Why would anyone do that?
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what normal people think, and that's probably why we're never going to be League of Legends or Counter-Strike or Call of Duty, because it's a special type of person that will actually do that, especially for the amount of money that we're making for it. Like, it's not like you're getting pro athlete money.
There's money to be made. Somebody's making money.
You guys are getting paid.
Exactly.
Wait, I'm getting paid in exposure.
Yeah.
Exposure bucks, my favorite.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh man.
Well, when it comes to
here in America.
Yeah, right. When it comes to the current state of this game, Street Fighter V, obviously we've just had a significant patch. How did you feel about the game before that patch came out?
I felt like
I mean, Ken was good.
I felt like the game was in an interesting state where it needed a few minor tweaks to some of the strongest characters and a few minor tweaks to some of the worst characters. And then I would have loved to see it let loose in an offline environment, because that's the thing we haven't really had outside of the two Red Bull Kumites. And I guess Street Fighter League, but Street Fighter League is still a subsection.
Small,
we haven't seen the world play each other yet. We've seen Street Fighter League Japan, we've seen Street Fighter League NA, which at least had Street Fighter League NA in effect was rest of the world, right? Based on who was there. But we haven't seen the world outside of Red Bull Kumite go at it and test their strategies. And even Red Bull Kumite Las Vegas was kind of disappointing because the Japanese players were recording SFL Japan that week, so we didn't get Daigo Takedo, blah, 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 etc. So I was kind of hyped for that. Outside of 500 people turning up using Luke, and Cammy and Poison being ridiculous, and Karen having no hurt boxes on anything. Outside of that, I was kind of like, I'm really interested to see this, because we've got loads of character specialists. Some of these characters are starting to rise up a bit, no pun intended. And I was kind of hyped for that. Now they've really thrown like a curveball at us, because these are significant changes that they've made here. Like, I was just playing Problem X's Alex, and that character is terrifying. Yeah. I think that character was really good last season, actually. He got some really, really good buffs, but kind of like
really good.
You know how like Boxer got massacred for being season 2 Boxer? Like, he got massacred for that. But every year afterwards, he would just get buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed and buffed, till last year where he's like, this character's really legit. I think Alex was just there last year, and now he's got these extra things. Like, he's a terror now. Like reliable Oki, command grabs stuff.
Top tier for sure. Say it to the world, Logan.
I would never say that Alex is top tier, because I don't want to in any way undermine all of the victories that my guy Problem X is going to secure with that character. So Alex
so
is
in other
firmly
words-
mid-tier,
Yeah,
and it's all about
exactly.
the player.
low mid tier at best, honestly.
Yeah.
But I am very scared of Alex. And there's loads of changes like that, which are like pretty cool. And there's so much to explain. We kind of said about it when we were in the break about reading the patch notes. The difference between reading the patch notes and actually understanding what they mean comes down to the translation of what those patch notes say. And I feel like I just have to watch mains stream with the character, and then I can take away what these changes actually mean. So I've been trying to do that. I've just been trying to watch a bit of stuff, and I've been really enjoying watching Brian F go around. I've been enjoying watching loads of clips of Japanese players because they're straight in there playing 100 ranked matches in an hour, and that's really what I'm doing. I'm just trying to absorb what the people that know way more than me with these characters are getting out of these changes, and then I can see kind of how they affect. But for me, it's really interesting. It's thrown a real curveball, as I said. It's not the kind of... It's like halfway in between an Amiga version of the game, like we got in Street Fighter 4, and like a nice balanced version. I don't know where it's going to end up.
Yeah, I mean that sounds right to me. Yeah, I think all you can do right now really is just leave it on a question. You know, we just don't know enough at this point. It just came out.
Yeah, find out soon.
Apart from Zeku's Infinite, of course, that needs to go.
Yeah.
Leave it in, cowards.
So I mean, are you going back more into the DJ stuff because of the pandemic right now, or I mean, are you still trying to? I mean, I guess, you know, past few years we've been seeing you everywhere. You know, we saw your first attack, we see you traveling, you're doing, you know, all the stuff, and it felt like you were definitely leaning more into FGC than the music. Does it feel like it's shifting a little bit?
To be honest with you, I was doing both just as much.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like 2019. Oh, what the hell? My camera's just gone off. Bear with me 2 secs.
No worries. We can still hear you. You can...
It's a podcast, so I mean, it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Yeah, it's not that big a deal.
Yeah, you can keep talking while you're doing this if you're next to the mic, but if not, no worries.
If not,
Yeah, that guy Zeku is strong. I mean, there's just a lot of strong characters. I feel like it's hard to nail down who is the best. You know, it's up in the air.
Again, the game was in a
I
great
can
state.
tell you who it's not.
honestly.
I can tell you who it's not. That's E Honda, who definitely got nerfed.
Okay, he didn't get nerfed, guy.
He got nerfed, man.
Okay,
But also
what is
he's
his
definitely
nerf?
not the best.
What is
He's
his
not-
nerf then, Tubo? Explain to
Listen,
me.
I'd have to pull up the patch notes again, man. I don't want to do all that. But I know that my knee-jerk reaction was he got nerfed, and that's all I'm sticking with for
You got it, buddy.
I'm an idiot.
That's
no,
all
it's all
good.
good. No, it's all
Did you
I'm an
kick out
idiot.
the wire?
No, I had the DC plugged into the AC out, into the AV out.
Hey,
No worries, no worries.
looking good. All right.
So the battery ended up dying. It wasn't on charge. Sorry.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I was basically doing both in 2019, and it was a really blessed time. I was really
Awesome.
really fortunate to be able to travel around the world and experience all the different communities, whilst at the same time having the opportunities to play the music that I love as well.
That's cool.
I've got a really cool week coming up, actually. Tomorrow we're doing a live stream from the Red Bull Gaming Sphere with JME, who's a really famous grime artist. JME is the person that I first went to a major with. We went to SVB in 2009, and he loved Street Fighter 4, and he never really converted over to Street Fighter 5.
Smart man.
But he started playing Street Fighter 5 about 3 months ago, and he's been streaming it every single day. He never promotes his stream. He always deletes the archives, but he gets obviously loads of viewers because he's got like 500,000 followers on Twitter. He's got like a really big loyal fan base, and he's been playing it every day. He's having a great time. So we're going to go Red Bull Gaming Sphere tomorrow and just live stream a bunch of sets. I've invited a bunch of the London guys down as well, so we're going to do some exhibition matches with some of the London players also.
What channel is that going to be on?
Bad Man Online is the name of his channel.
Cool.
So we'll be streaming on that from the Gaming Sphere. And then the day after that, he is doing a big music event in a new venue in London that we're all going to play at as well. So yeah, it's basically I'm spending 2 days with him doing the two things that we both love the most at the moment. So that's
Sounds
what as I said, I feel pretty
it's not
blessed
How bad a way to live, man.
Yeah,
to
man.
do that, you know. So yeah, I mean, hopefully, I was really happy to see this CPT announcement where we're going to get some premiere events offline. and I'm really intrigued to see what this World Warrior scheme, whether it's like a dojo system, and it's going to make locals a thing again, because obviously, as we know, I run a local here in London, so that would be really nice. So yeah, I mean, I'm optimistic things will get back to the way they were in some form, safety permitting and what have you. Things seem to be getting a bit worse in some countries and better in others. So it makes it very difficult for a plan to be put together on a worldwide scale. But I hope by the time Street Fighter 6 rolls around that we can all just be seeing each other every other week at premiere events all over the world once again, and we'll all just laugh and remember that time when we just were all at home bored. So fingers crossed, that's what I'm hoping for.
I hear that, dude.
No,
Hi, James.
I ask everybody this question, and I know you've told your story before of where your handle Logan Sama comes from, and I remember it had something to do with the fact that you are the biggest anime fan in the world, right? And,
my favorite anime character over my shoulder.
No, I mean, where did Logan?
I mean,
Sama
you play
come
Marvel
from?
3, dog. I mean, that's pretty anime.
It is. It's got all my favorite anime characters in it as well.
Yeah. Same.
I am to what British people are. You would call. I guess I don't know what you'd call it. So like guys that are obsessed with Japanese culture would be weebs, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm clearly obsessed by American culture.
Yeah.
Because I love comics and wrestling and NFL and baseball and NBA. So whatever that is, I'm one of those.
You're just a really smart guy from the UK. That's all. I just think you're brilliant.
Dude,
that's
and you know why
happened.
it's the smartest? Because you can enjoy our culture, but have your own healthcare.
Then you still get healthcare. You got the best of both worlds.
Although, to be honest with you, our healthcare is not doing great at the moment because our government generally seems to be taking a lot of tips from yours.
Yeah. Tell them it's the bad.
It's been a rough few years.
It's not the greatest at the moment. Yeah. Where did the name come from? So, I grew up in a time in which you were not supposed to put your real name on the internet.
Yes.
So I tried to sign up for an email account, and obviously Logan@hotmail.com had been taken. So I was thinking of things. I didn't want to just do Logan 420 365 or whatever. Exactly. So I was reading an issue of Wolverine when he was in the Princess Bar, which is a hangout in the fictional Asian island of Madripoor, and they would refer to him as Logan Sama, which obviously I'm reading in a comic book, so I don't know how it's pronounced because I've never heard it said. So obviously where it should be Sama, I'm just reading it in my English accent as Sama, as a hard A. So that's where that came from. And I thought, yeah, that's really cool. Because when I Googled it, it said this is like an utmost term of respect. And I thought, that's really cool. I'll use that as my DJ name because people will be paying me the utmost respect without even realizing they're doing it. That would be very cool. So I ended up using it as my DJ name and then just carried it over into everything else I did as well. So that's where Logan Sama came from, an issue of Wolverine from the 90s.
That's like the perfect origin story for you.
Yeah, that's a good story.
Great. Yeah.
Before you leave, though, I do want to ask, because you just brought it up a little bit. I just want to have one last question because I just want to hear how, as a big wrestling fan, how does it feel to have actually commentated an NJPW match and become friends with Kenny Omega? I mean, like, through fighting games,
He is one of the nicest people I've ever had the pleasure of meeting. Like, he's just a genuine, massive fan of things. He's just brimming with positivity about the stuff that he loves, which is ironic because he's a miserable bastard other than that. But, when it comes to the things that he likes, he's just overflowing with enthusiasm and joy and passion about it. So I can kind of relate that because I too overflow with joy and passion about things I'm passionate about. But I'm also a miserable bastard. So I think that's kind of why we hit it off a little bit. For me, I got into Japanese wrestling kind of as Bullet Club came through, just before Kenny joined New Japan. And then when I saw him come through and he was putting on these incredible matches, and I went back and realized that I'd seen him working in other companies like Ring of Honor and other places like that, PGW as well. And I just thought, wow, this guy watches all the shit. He knows stuff all the time. We'll text each other during like majors and stuff. We have done for like the last 4 years, and he's like watching. He knows all the players. He knows what's going on. He's really like an avid follower, and he's also incredibly excellent at what he does. Definitely the best at what he does. So, like for me, that makes it even cooler. It's funny that I'll talk to people in other walks of life that are really, really great at what they do. There's a guy called Zack Sabre Jr. who is a British wrestler, and he's just won the New Japan Cup. Literally the other day, he won the New Japan Cup. And like I saw him at an event in London. And he's like, oh yeah, Logan, yeah, I know you. I've got your Fabric Mix CD. I've seen you play, and I love grime, and these are the artists that I love. And he can tell me really obscure musical artists as well, and it's like, wow, okay, this is really cool. Like just when you're just genuine fans of what these people do, and then you discover they actually like what you do and what you're involved as well, and it's like kind of mind blowing, but it's also really humanizing at the same time. And I just like, yeah, it's really nice, man. Like it's been an absolute privilege to become Kenny's friend. Just a great guy.
Cool, man. Well, thanks a lot for coming on and chatting with us. I really appreciate
we definitely
it.
appreciate it, dude.
What time did you say that you'll be working out?
I will be up in under 4 hours.
Good luck. Have fun.
Yeah, right, dude. Go get some
I'm
rest
cool,
if
man.
you can.
Like, do you want me to hang around for a little bit longer? I don't mind.
I'm not gonna make you do that.
Yeah,
No,
we'll
appreciate
make you do that,
you.
You wouldn't be
coming
making
on.
me if you want me to. I'm happy to do so.
Get out of here already.
I just feel like I've just been monologuing for like half an hour.
That's the
No,
thing.
that's
That's what we want you to do.
That's what we want.
Exactly what we want when
Absolutely.
people come on.
Yes.
Fair enough.
The only guest is a guest who has nothing to say. You have been enthralling. It's been a great time.
Good work.
All right, guys.
All right,
well, thank
man,
you
yeah.
so much for
Thank you
inviting me. It's
again.
really been a
We'll
pleasure.
see you one of these
Yeah.
years.
Yeah,
I hope so.
definitely.
I hope I see you guys at least at Evo.
Come
maybe
to Combo Breaker if you can, man. Come to Combo Breaker.
Bro, the way that my bank account's set up right now,
I feel
maybe
you,
if
man.
Combo Breakers,
it's
maybe if
all
Combo
good.
Breakers one of those premieres, and I can steal one of
That would
those
be-
one of you American commentators' jobs. That'd be great.
That would be cool. All right, bud.
All right,
Yep.
guys, take care.
Have a
Thank
good
you
rest
so
of your
much.
night. Good to see you.
All right.
I will.
Logan.
Take care.
Good rest of your morning, basically. Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
All
there
right.
you go.
Yeah, thanks a lot,
Shout outs
man, for
again.
coming on.
I know it's like almost 4 a.m. for him over there now. I think it's past 4 a.m. now.
dude.
Yeah.
Past
So
4 a.m.
shout outs to Logan for jumping on. Appreciate that.
All right. That was great. Yeah. What a great conversation that was. Okay, well, let's move on to the 5-5 matchup where we discuss stuff. And typically we have questions from the viewers, which we will get to in a bit. But sometimes we have questions that we want to get to ourselves. And that's what we're going to start with today. James and Brock, are locals dying? What's going on here?
So obviously, just to kind of give a little backstory about this, Pat the Flip, who we had on the stream, what was it, 2 weeks ago? Last week? 2 weeks ago?
I don't know.
I
what
can't
time
even
it is.
remember.
Something like that.
Yeah, he put out a tweet where he was talking about, things are changing now and that locals are probably going to start,
Times they are a change.
yeah, and they're not going to be as attended as much because online has just gotten better, more convenient. People just, we're not in that pattern. We're not in the habit of going to locals anymore, so it might be hard to bring us back even after the pandemic is done. And it really sparked a huge debate. A lot of people talking about this online. So, yeah, are locals dying? Should we prepare? Obviously, we can't say locals are dying because we don't know, but is this something that we should prepare for? Is this an inevitable? Is this Thanos? Is it inevitable that it's going to happen?
How do you prepare for it, James? I want to know what the preparation for locals going away looks like.
Getting better at online? Just doing
Yeah, I
better,
was gonna say,
better
I
online
think
tournaments.
keep doing what we've been doing. I don't think there's anything to prepare for.
Right.
But I do think the truth, the painful truth about locals is I don't think locals will die, but I do think weeklies were too goddamn much. Weeklies were too much for most adults. Like, and even college students, man, a lot of college students will work a part-time job as well as go to, university. So, yeah, I think weeklies for most people are too much, and it has nothing to do with hunger or, how much you want to play the game. It's just there's only so much life. There are only so many hours in the day. So I think that maybe weeklies were too much. Like it was a bit much. So that changing to monthlies, I have no problem with. So I don't think fighting game locals are dying. I just think they're going to happen less often, and overall, that's probably for the best.
I will say that I think this is something that some scenes have already somewhat dealt with. So games that have had good netcode for a while
Yeah.
tend not to have that many big locals. And I used to think that was not something that we could learn a larger lesson from, because it happened that those games were relatively small in the competitive FGC. Skullgirls, Killer Instinct, later NRS games, huge numbers of players playing those games online. KI and all the NRS games, so many players online. But that didn't really translate to like big offline weekly numbers. And I just thought like maybe that was just those cases because they're relatively. What if Street Fighter had great netcode? What if King of Fighters or Tekken or whatever had great netcode? What would that happen? I don't know. I didn't know. But I think that the more that time goes on and other games also get good netcode, it just may be the case that it's hard for games that have great netcode to sustain also a great offline regular scene. I think those games are still going to result in big offline majors. Strive is a good example of this. King of Fighters is getting a lot of entrants at Combo Breaker, etc. Like games that have good netcode can still get big majors. But as far as weekly play, maybe or even monthly play goes, you could just be playing like in your house, and get almost as good experience in terms of matchup experience as if you were in person. That obviously gives up other stuff, right? In person, you have much more of the human experience. You're meeting people, you're hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
There's obviously
and all that stuff is necessary, but is it necessary?
But you may not.
A month?
But you may not know. What I'm trying to get at is that if you're somebody who's used to playing online, those are the things that you could get offline. But how do you know? You don't know that. You're just somebody who plays online and you have a really good experience. And even if you are somebody who plays offline, maybe you have experience. It's nevertheless hard to justify sometimes the drive, the amount of time it takes, when you could just be like, well, look, I'll do my other things, then I'll play online for an hour or two at most, rather than driving an hour somewhere, which is what we basically had to do.
Yeah.
And I totally understand why that would lead to fewer people going offline regularly. Makes sense.
We're all getting used to working from home.
Right.
A lot of people don't even want to go back into offices because,
goddamn right.
amount of times that they've had to drive and spending, like, people are finding they're spending more time with their family and stuff.
Right.
And it's not even just that. Let me remind you that Hotashi and Marn fought each other in grand finals of a Guilty Gear Strive tournament twice in the same day.
Yeah.
When you're not traveling to these events, you can actually enter more than one, and you can win money from multiple events when they're online.
Yeah. A lot of the appeal, I think, of weekly events was it was a social thing.
Yeah. So,
I could tell you every single scene I've been a part of, which has been 6 or 7 now at this point. Every single one. At least like 5 or 6 of the people that showed up didn't even really play fighting games. They were just there to hang out, kind of sort of knew about fighting games. Like,
Dude,
it was
when I went
still is
when
a
I went to
social.
Wednesday Night Fights, I wasn't playing anybody, right? But like, it's interesting because like I think back to me and David and Wednesday Night Fights. We went every single week until they started the run back. We were going every week, kind of due to inertia. But as soon as they created the run back, and we only went to one, and we're missing out the other, and we would pick Wednesday Night Fights or the run back. That just sort of led to us stopping going. You know, like it is just one of those things. But, you know, the thing about it, honestly, is that locals, you know, it's just like what I've said about arcades, right? Arcades aren't going to thrive by providing us with video games to play because we do that better at home. Home games are better than arcade games, right? That's just the way it is now because we get to sit down and play long epics like Elden Ring. You know, it's not about playing Galaxian trying to get a high score in an arcade anymore. Same thing about locals, right? You're not going to get the same kind of experience you can at home where you're just constantly playing and stuff like that. So locals, I don't think they're dying. I just think locals have to change. You know, as we have to adapt.
Monthly.
You know, go to places, even if they are weeklies. Let's not even talk about frequency. Let's just talk about, you know, the venue, having places to sit down and chill, having food to eat. You know, a lot of times you go to a place like Wednesday Night Fights at the esports arena, everyone's like, shit, I'm hungry. What am I going to do? Like, we're sitting there starving. You buy the Doritos at the counter, you know, kind of thing. But now we're starting to see more places like, for example, Barcode, where they have food there, they have drinks. You know, it is a social thing, right? It is specifically there so that you can go and hang around with people and stuff. So that's kind of where the adaptation has to come from. We have to pick different venues now, I think, than just like esports arenas and
that's
such. So
way easier said than done.
oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I won't name the scenes that I was a part of because I don't want to like blow them up. But some of them ran out of a garage without a working bathroom that you peed in a bucket. Like,
Yeah.
I've been in some like grimy spots to play games because that was the only place that, you know, people could find a player that was affordable even to play because I have, you know, buddies out here that are about to run a monthly that I'm commentating at actually next month. And you know, like it's expensive just to rent out the space at some of the nicer places that would have food and entertainment, you know, within walking distance or even a short drive. Yeah. So sometimes you're limited to playing in the garage with the pee bucket. Like it just be like that, you know?
Yeah,
you can't always count on
those locals are gonna go. They're going to disappear because no one wants to drive a few hours to go pee in a bucket, right? I mean, you can play these guys online. Not only that, but, you know, the reason why online is also important is because, you know, we're the spoiled ones, right? Like, or at least me and David, I know we're spoiled because we have a really great local. Even without Wednesday Night Fights, David, you were going to the 818 locals, you know, for a while and such.
Yeah, Game Realms is actually starting back up.
Yeah, so we have that opportunity.
We had really good locals here too before.
Yeah, you did.
Right,
or you
and
did.
A lot of people don't have that power. So in a way, by creating these kind of online locals, you know, it's very powerful for a lot of players out there. That gives them opportunities now. You know, as good as Paradigm got, I mean, he drove 2 hours both directions with no traffic to get the run back to get good at Marvel. That's a lot of dedication to put in there. And now with gas prices the way they are, I mean, Jesus, like who's going to do that?
Viable now.
So are locals dying? No, I don't think so, because I think a lot of people do want to go there and see their friends. I think that it's just that locals are going to be changing. They're going to be different, and you know, they're not going to be what we're accustomed to. You can't just put a place with nothing but game stations and just be okay with it. It's got to be a place where everyone wants to hang out, can eat there.
Where everyone knows your name.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess I'm not sure. I kind of do think that they will be scarcer, that there will be fewer significant locals.
Did you plug the AC in the DC into the wrong?
You're right.
My camera's not fancy like Logan's.
Okay.
So I do worry about that a little bit, even in big cities. To think back to the example of Mortal Kombat, there was a monthly in SoCal before the pandemic, and Shankar was running a weekly. Maybe it was every other week. I guess now I don't remember. So long ago. God, I'm so bizarre. But whatever it was, there were like 4 people the first time, and the most we ever got was like 10.
Right.
And there are who knows how many people playing that game online. So many people.
Dude,
and we're in LA. I feel like we could have driven down the street in 5 blocks in any direction from that store and found another dozen Mortal Kombat players.
So I mean, kind of to go with your story, David, about wondering if good games with good net code translates. So we can even go back to when it wasn't good net code, because that was one of the reasons why DOA 4 on the Xbox 360 was at EVO one year. Was because at the time it was the #1 game played on Xbox Live, because it was brand new. It was one of the first games released on Xbox 360. Everybody was playing DOA. It had Bafo numbers online. We put it at EVO. Jason Cole slept his way to top 8.
Jason Cole made top 8 in that game? That's hilarious.
Yeah, because he was asleep, didn't show up, but nobody else entered, and he literally slept his way to top 8 at EVO West. In other words, the number of people playing playing DOA online did not translate to the local, to people traveling. And
offline,
absolutely, one of the reasons why Melee scene is so big is because it had no offline and no online.
Could be, yeah.
That's absolutely one of the reasons why Melee is as big of a gathering kind of thing that it is. The better we get it offline, it is going to hurt locals. It absolutely is. So, I would try my best to keep it, because I'm one of these guys who's always yelling about fighting games being social and it sucks online and all
right.
This stuff. But, what Pat says, has absolute viability behind it. You know what I mean? There is definitely...
That Pat's full of crap. I'm going to get him on this show one day. And we're going to have it out.
There's a reason why when he tweeted it out, I quote retweeted, and I was just like, this is a scary concept, because, part of me could actually see it happening. And I'm hoping it doesn't. But who am I to talk? I wasn't fucking going to Wednesday night fights, right? Like, I was part of the problem. So,
well, I mean, I was going to Game Realms. I mean, I was going to the stuff that we have that's not an hour and a half away, like Wednesday night fights.
Right, that's the problem.
LA is too big to have one, but we had multiple. We had like 5 every week. Interesting that Grayzant in the chat says it's funny. A lot of people in Melee now are saying it feels like it's dying because the online is so good and there's no events to go to. Maybe there you go. There you go. Yeah. So I don't know that it's right that they're dying, but I am concerned that online may lead to that. I don't even know if concerned is the right word. I guess I'm not concerned about it. It just may be a fact, and then I'll adapt. I don't know. I'm not that hung up.
Remember.
I definitely will. I definitely will hang out with friends at like my house or their house or whatever, if nothing else.
Dude, remember at the start of the pandemic, one of the things that I said was that the online is becoming the new arcade to console.
Yeah, you did say
situation, right? We're running into that exact same thing again. Now it's not arcade. It's not real. Like you can't be real unless you're playing at arcades. That went away real fast. It's happening with online. Online is going to become the new norm. It absolutely is. So.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Let's move
offline,
on.
Dog.
What's
See
that?
me online.
Oh.
It's like catch me offline.
See me online. I'm not going to play offline. Those are offline tactics. See me online.
Catch me online, offline, online. Like that second event.
You're drawing the line.
That was so great.
Cross
Big
this
ups
line.
to
Majin Obama's.
Oh, did he say that? Oh, okay.
60 minutes parody. That was a super good video, dude. By the way, hilarious and also like.
He's been killing it, man.
Good.
He's gonna be my content creator of the year again.
Yeah, I can see that. He's killing it, man. 100%. I agree. Okay, let's move on to the 5-5 matchup viewer questions. So here are your 3. Of course, we're only going to take one of these questions because we just did another one. So vote like you only got one. All right, number one. How do I ever find time to play fighting games again when Elden Ring never seems to end? Or How do you balance your time between playing fighting games and pursuing other hobbies and interests? Number 2, with the new PlayStation Plus announced, do you think we will get Marvel vs. Capcom 2 released with it? Or what are some fighting games you hope we do get with it? And then number 3, with the fighting game scene mostly dominated with long time running games, what should a new fighting game IP do to be successful in this market? If it's even possible in the current market. This is a repeat from last week. What didn't get picked? That is definitely okay. So there are your 3.
So I have created the entries. Please, if you just voted, do so again because I only just created the poll. So type it in there again. Type !1, !2, or !3 to vote on which question you would like us to answer. So
I've been playing a little of Elden Ring myself.
Have you?
A little bit.
I've been reading about your experiences with it. It's been kind of fascinating, actually.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I'm only 80 hours.
How are you 80 hours in and I'm far? You know what?
You're
run
farther
around
than
too
me
much.
because you don't explore. Yeah, that's what it is. I'm just
You just
like
run around too much. You're just
do.
like running around the chicken
Dude.
with your head cut off.
You're right.
Welcome to my Breath of the Wild experience, man. Holy crap. I didn't get to like major plot points in Breath of the Wild until like 50 hours into the game, dude. Seriously.
For sure. It is honest. There's a lot of similarities between the two.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. I don't know if I'm 80. Maybe that's a little bit overstating it, but like not.
All right,
not by
we're
much,
not getting
so.
any more votes. I'm closing this down.
Okay, yeah,
it is clearly number 3. So archiving this. So with fighting game scenes mostly dominated with long time running games, what's a new IP? What should a new IP fighting game?
Dude, I can't read it either. I'm sorry. I've been trying so hard to understand it. I don't know what the question is.
The question is, what should a new fighting game IP do to be successful in this market?
Should a new fighting game IP...
Should I have edited it first before putting it in here? Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but this is better.
In this market. If it's even possible in this market. Okay, let's do this. Turn this off. Click save.
So,
Boom!
look, I would say that this is not a fighting game only problem. That is to say, it's not just in fighting games where long-running IPs are dominant. It's basically entertainment as a whole. It's long-running TV shows and movies.
You're not telling me that I've only watched like 80 Marvel films in the past.
Great example. Yeah, it really is like that. It's like that in everything. And I don't know if it always needs to be like that. It didn't used to always be like that. And maybe at some point it won't be like that in the future. But
what are you even saying? I don't know what your point is. I feel like you've said a lot of words, and I have no idea what you're getting to.
My point is that this is not just a fighting game problem, and that in general, in entertainment, long-running IPs are the things that are in control. And they continue to be in control rather than having as many new IPs come out.
Oh yeah,
I'm not saying whether that's even a problem or not. I'm just describing the world.
No,
the world is like
I mean, here's the thing.
The way the question was worded and the way you were answering it, I was so like off base on where the hell any of that was.
The thing
going.
about it is, things were not created a long time ago to last, right? There was no intention of things. I mean, there's that one book, Everything Bad for You is Good for You. I'd seen summaries of it, and they describe like the soap operas Dallas and all those things from way back in the 70s and the 80s, and their plot complications is like doesn't exist because once they showed on TV, you were never supposed to see them again. But because of preservation and collection mentality these days, where we buy seasons of 24 or we collect comics and all these crazy things like that. Okay, fine. I used to buy seasons of 24. Shut up, David.
Be specific, James.
No, but I'm just saying, because that was the example he gave was Dallas versus 24 on their complexity of character relationships, which is why it was in my mind. But, we have entered this phase where nostalgia is like one of the most powerful things, and comfort is very, very powerful. So we do tend to stick with things that we know. I mean, for example, like I only play Final Fantasy games, even though I like JRPGs. And even then, I've never played 15, right? I've just never had the time, which goes to question one. But that's just how we are. So it is hard, and that's why everything is a remake. Like, we can't even make new movies. It's like, here's the remake of we have a new dramatic Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, you know? Like, I mean, what is even happening here, you know, kind of a thing. And so it's just nostalgia and familiarity sells, because that's kind of the culture that we have these days. And so it's very hard for new IPs to get in there. Like, I always was marveling at the fact that how well Sony got God of War into things, because that was a brand new IP, and my friends were working on it. So, you know, obviously I had a vested interest in studying that, but like how God of War turned itself into one of those big must-have IPs, you know, it's just, it's kind of a, it's tough. It's tough. And can a fighting game with no history, like obviously we can make Avatar the fighting game, or you know, something that hasn't had a fighting game before, you know, hasn't had a fighting game.
Project L.
I was gonna interrupt and say, like, the way you make a new fighting game IP successful is you take an existing IP and you slap it in a fighting game. You Dragon Ball Fighters that shit. You Grand Blue Versus, like that's what you do. Yeah. That's how you make a successful new fighting game.
And Peter 0611
taking a brand new IP and doing that.
Yeah, Peter 0611 is absolutely right too. Is that big companies are also more risk averse, and they want to play it safer. No one's willing to take risk out there anymore. But can we get a completely brand new fighting game from out of nowhere to, you know, start becoming a big thing? It's possible. It's going to be more difficult, but it is definitely possible.
It'll happen eventually. I mean,
I agree.
It'll happen. Yeah. But good luck.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
and that includes Project L. It's not going to be easy.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, and so I agree that companies have become more risk averse. That's not even really right. I think instead it's that they see sequels as being, or remakes as being, a pathway that is less risk averse, whereas in previous decades it wasn't like that. Like sequels were relatively common, or relatively uncommon. So I mean, companies have always been risk averse, right? People don't want to risk a lot of money. That totally makes sense. And people have always liked nostalgia. Who doesn't like that? Like, everybody's always liked that. But we have a particular situation right now where it's like quite entrenched. I mean, it's not the case that I grew up watching the things that my parents grew up, or playing with their toys. You know, I didn't. But my nephews are big Ninja Turtles fans, and they like Star Wars and Marvel comics. And that's a different story than it was before. And I could imagine that changing, because like, why not? Things end up changing at some point, but I don't know how that would happen. And it seems to me unlikely that would start with a fighting game. So yeah, I think at some point it will happen, but it's going to definitely be tough. Brock's probably right. The best way to do it is to bring in, like DNF Duel, right? Or Project L, something that is from an existing IP, but now
take an existing IP and you turn it into a fighting game.
Right. Yeah.
You don't make a new IP and then make a fighting game out of it. That's going the Skullgirls route. It's going to take you 11 years to get to season 1. Okay.
Maybe. And look, there have been plenty of indie games, right? Skullgirls is a great example.
I mean,
there have been many other indie games in fighting games that have been relatively popular. So if that's something that we're talking about, I guess maybe the question needs to be, can you make it like mega popular? You know,
right?
Because they have had success. They've made their money back. They've made a little profit. They've created a scene for themselves. They're not as big as like Street Fighter or Tekken.
Yeah, I mean, before the pandemic, Under Night was building a lot of steam, honestly. You know, then the pandemic happened and the game's netcode sucks, so there went Under Night. But I mean, honestly, if a new fighting game came out, like if, for example, you know, someone hired me to make a new fighting game, and obviously it would be the best fighting game in the entire planet, you know, we could probably do it. But, you know, otherwise it has to be something special. It has to be something really, truly innovative and special and do a lot of things. And this is where it kind of relates to the question last week, you know, talking about Daigo's comment, you know, if fighting games are now kind of outdated. You know, I do think they are outdated, and I do think that a new concept can shake things up. I really do. But one, you have to be willing to take that risk, and companies are risk averse. And two, it has to catch lightning in a bottle. It just has to strike exactly the right way, the right time, or someone like, you know, like you put it out there and then like Pokemon, it's just like, this is my favorite game, and she just starts playing it, a fighting game, every day, and she gets really good at it, and it inspires everybody else to go and play it. Like, if something like that doesn't happen, it's going to be very, very hard to do.
Sounds right. Like From Software with their bold new IP, Elden Ring.
Yeah, very bold,
new.
very
Very
different.
bold and new. Yeah, okay. Anything else to say on this?
Nope.
We all
all
maybe
I've
think
got.
it'll happen eventually, but I don't. If I had the words to say to know how to make a new successful IP for a fighting game, I would just go to a fighting game company and sell myself to them. Just be
Right.
like, here you go. I'm not
Hello,
gonna.
fighting game company. Here is the
Hey, fighting
winning
game.
formula.
Hey, Tom Fighting Game, owner of Fighting Game Company.
Yeah.
Here's my call. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to this. Nobody does.
Right.
I do. Hire me to help make your fighting game. I have crazy, new, bold ideas to make amazing fighting games. Capcom, let me make the new Rival Schools. That's all I'm
Don't
going
do
to
it,
say.
Capcom.
Yeah, look, Brawlhalla is an interesting example. It's very popular. It has a ton of players. It definitely was a new IP, although it's adopted lots of other stuff. So maybe that's about as close as it gets to being what we're talking about here. And
Yeah.
that's a one example out of the last. Boy, when was the last other major fighting game IP created? Maybe Skullgirls is
brand
the other
new.
recent
Yeah.
example, but
Yeah,
before that,
yeah.
like it's 20 years ago. It's like not at all recent, maybe longer than that.
At least of games that have gotten play. Like there's
Yeah.
Yatagarasu and
Sure. Oh, yeah. Again,
Right.
a lot
You know,
of
some
indie games.
smaller
that-
I mean,
games,
let's just
but-
put it this way. Every brand new fighting game you come out with will not have the jump start that a new Rival Schools or even a new Bloody Roar would have. Even if you made a new Fighting Vipers, it would have a lot more jump start ability than
I don't know about
anything
that
that's
one.
completely brand new.
I'll give you Bloody
So-
Roar. I won't give you Fighting Vipers. I don't think that's big enough.
Really, if you think about it, all the games that are currently at the top of the FGC list, they're from the 90s, like a long time
Yeah.
ago. 25, 30 years
Street
ago.
Fighter, Tekken,
Mortal
Guilty Gear,
Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
KOF.
They're all from the 90s. KOF.
All, yeah, that's how it is, man. Caliber, like they're just all from there. But that's not just the case again with fighting games. That's like video games in general, and also just entertainment from like the 80s and later is basically the world that we still live in.
No one's ever going to be able to make an official sports game except for 2K and EA at this point. You know?
Right. Yeah.
Well, legally, a lot of companies can't.
Yeah,
Like,
that's true.
literally
too.
cannot. So
Yeah, although those companies, the sports companies, if they wanted to, could partner with somebody else, but they're
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
why? What do
yeah,
they
no,
care?
of course they're not. Yeah. Okay, I guess that's that.
Sure. So let's move on and complete ourselves with the mailbag.
Time to complete ourselves.
Yeah, that's weird. That's a weird thing to say.
Let's complete ourselves.
Please
This
let's
is
not.
good.
Let's,
This is
I don't
good.
want to. No,
It's gonna be
Time to
weird-
be complete.
This
no,
question-
stop.
It's this
making me
question is
uncomfortable.
formatted so weirdly. I don't know if this is gonna show up properly here.
I hope it doesn't because it'll be funnier that way.
It
Yeah,
could be
it's
funny.
Probably
It could
true.
be funny.
Here we go. So Guardian via Twitter asks, if CVS3 magically got announced, what would be your ideal custom groove? Has each of the following: 2-meter uses, evasion guard mechanic, dash or run, offensive ability. I don't know what this question means, even when formatted properly.
I think they mean that you have to make your own groove, and it
I
has to
would've-
have 2-meter uses. So it has to have a super and EX, or a
Okay.
rage and a super, or a max cancel and an EX, or whatever. Has to have 2 uses for your bar. Has to have an evasion or a guard mechanic. So roll, parry, whatever. And then you have to have a dash or a run, and then an offensive ability. Which is a lot. I don't know what offense... That could mean literally anything.
Right.
Throw. Mine has throw. I would say, okay, mine has super and super cancel. And also has roll.
Very unique, David.
It also has dash. It also has an alpha counter. and it doesn't have short hop or universal overhead or gems.
Are you trying
And
to
y- and-
describe a specific game right now?
You can cancel level 2 supers into special moves. I don't know. What am I?
Oh man. I mean,
K Groove.
That's your okay. I was describing C Groove. You're a K Groove guy.
K Groove.
I mean, honestly, I don't want any custom grooves like that. I mean, even in the original one, I think K Groove was the most hybrid-ish, groove out there because it combined
More than N Groove?
N
Yeah.
Groove was a hybrid, yeah.
No, N-Groove wasn't that much of a
N-Groove
hybrid.
was wild. Yeah,
N-Groove was largely
It had roll. It had short hop. It had everything.
all
It
of
had
that
the
stuff
things.
exists in advanced mode in King of Fighters 98. It is literally advanced mode King of Fighters
I'm
98.
just talking about what's available with him.
Right, but it's not a hybrid. Whereas K Groove was literally a hybrid between Samurai Showdown and Garou Mark of the Wolves. Right?
Gotcha. I see what you mean.
It included the mechanics. Just Event didn't exist in Samurai Showdown. Rage Meter did not exist in Mark of the Wolves. Right? So outside of K Groove, most of them were kind of straightforward, except it's weird that A Groove had rolls. I don't know why A Groove had rolls. I don't.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't want to see a lot of custom stuff. I would like them to stick with the idea of trying to mimic an existing
Yeah, well, I
game.
think the
as
point of
much
the
as
question is,
possible.
what is your dream groove?
Um,
That's what they're getting at here. But they
Yeah,
gave
what
us
do you
like
really
specific
want?
rules rather than letting us just make our dream groove. They said these are the rules you have to follow based on the rules
2
I made
meters,
up.
super meter, guard meters. I would like to have parries, I guess.
Really? Ew.
Well, because like I said, I still want to see a modern parry take, with more Gil style parries with whiff that you could punish. Like that's something that I would really like to see. And
I hope
then
Street Fighter 6 does not have that. So
dash or run, either of them. Depending. Well, I mean, I guess it's a groove, so you
Gotta
have
pick.
to have it. You gotta pick.
Mine has a teleport, not your dash or your run.
every character just teleports a certain distance
No, they just teleport right next to you.
all the time.
All the
Whenever
time,
they want
just by
to, they can
pressing
just
2
teleport.
buttons, right?
Just by
Right,
pressing
sure.
2 buttons, that's right.
Right.
And another couple of buttons make them like home in on directly where you are.
Yeah.
Weird. Okay.
Yeah, I think.
And then I also have flawless block.
I don't think that game would ever work. Actually, I don't think a single game would ever put those kind of mechanics in.
No
the
way.
game.
Can you imagine? How could you possibly play footsies or zone or anything like that?
I know, right? Man, you definitely couldn't also make it a team-based game either, because that would just get way too wild, right?
Way
With
too
Well,
lists.
wacky. Way
Now,
too
now
wacky.
we've breached the realm of the impossible, so it's just not worth talking about
okay.
anymore. It's so nuts.
It's a tough question. I don't know. The question, I'm not sure how to.
CVS 3, not gonna happen.
Yeah, that's the correct answer.
However, there are Street Fighter characters in the KOF mobile game.
All Stars. KOF
Sure.
All
KOF
Stars.
All Stars, what it is.
Yeah, dude, The Rock is in that game. The Rock can fight, Dante.
Yeah, so is Tekken. Tekken's in that game too.
Yeah,
So is
Tekken's
Guilty
there.
Gear.
Guilty Gear is
Wow.
there.
They're
Dang,
all
that's
there.
like the Smash of mobile games. That's
Yeah, it really is.
dude. It really is. All right,
But only
anyways,
for
all
fighting
right, all
games
right.
and wrestlers.
Alex the Tarnished via Twitter. If you could only compete in a single fighting game, which would you choose? A game that you like a lot, but you're not as good at, or as you're not as good as other games, but still good, or a game where you are incredibly good, but don't like as much as other games, but still like. So in other words,
Well,
would you pick a game that you enjoy more, or a game that you are better in?
well, joke's on you, Alex, because none of us are incredible at any fighting games. So take that.
Hypothetically,
But what if, bud?
theoretically,
Hypothetically, the game that I like the most is going to be the game that I'm the best at. Historically speaking, the game that I like the most at the time is the one I'm practicing the most, and the one I'm the best at the time. So they're one and the same for me.
So what if you were to play 2 new games and I guess you come at them without having a prior like preference, and you're good at one, but you're ass at the other. You just think in your mind, like, I really enjoy the game that I'm good at. Is that how it works?
It depends. It depends how much fun the game is. It's only happened once or twice.
What do you think?
Is it about
But
fun?
it's well, I mean, it depends because that fun becomes me being good.
Hang on a second. Let me ask you this. So you would probably place higher in a Killer Instinct tournament than you would in a Marvel tournament, right?
Yeah.
So which would you focus on if they had the same kind of prizes? Because clearly you have a better chance of winning Killer Instinct, but you love Marvel 3 so much. Which would you compete in?
I'll play Marvel.
So you would pick love over...
Because my peak in both of them is not me winning majors. If my peak in one of the two was me winning majors, I would pick the one that I'm winning majors in. Because
there's a seasonal
money pays for bills. What's that?
There's a season, so you're building up points. And even though you're not winning, you're always getting like top 8s in Killer Instinct, but not top 8s in Marvel.
Even if I had all the local points in the world and I won first at all my locals forever, I'm still not going to beat Nikki. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I've done that. If Rick didn't show up to KI locals, I won free. Like, it wasn't even close. So like I've been there, I've lived that, but I would still rather play Marvel 3 for sure.
Right. So there you go. Love over...
But again, if I was winning, I have to pay bills. And if I'm putting all my free time into a thing that I can win significant money on,
so
then
let's
what
say
I'm choosing.
Let's say money is not a factor, then it would be Marvel.
Money's not a factor, then absolutely the thing I have more fun with. Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah,
always 100%.
That's like life in general.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's
yeah,
true,
it's just life in general.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I'd probably do the same. I'd probably go with the game that I liked more, even if I wasn't doing as well than the game that I'm better at. Right.
I've even quit games that I've been better at because I wasn't having as much fun with them as I have other games.
Oh yeah.
I stopped playing Brawlhalla because it wasn't fun to me anymore.
Yeah.
They changed the game and it wasn't fun to me and I had stopped. I was pretty damn good at that game.
I still remember, like, at Wednesday Night Fights, like, I had this one awesome season of Street Fighter 4. Fucking quit that game because I wasn't having fun with it anymore, honestly.
Yeah, if you're not having fun, man, what's the point?
Yeah.
I mean, I was top 20 online in Samurai Showdown. That's true. I was
for
early on. Okay,
I was top 20 on Earth.
KOF player.
On
Earth. Like on
and
day
I chose
one
not to play
or
it
something.
anymore.
Like
No, it was in the
day
first
one.
week. It wasn't just day one.
Oh, I'm sorry. The first 7 days. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Clearly,
that's right.
That makes it even more impressive.
Yeah. I think I could have won something in that game in week 1, sure. But anyway, so I have had that kind of experience a few times. Yeah, if money was no object, sure, I would like to play the one that I would enjoy more. I think it's true that I tend to be better at games that I enjoy more, of course, as Brock was saying. That means you're going to play it more often and you're going to practice more and you'll be better.
It becomes the one and the same.
Yeah. But if money was an object, if one of the games that I could win had like a $250,000 prize at the end of the year, and I really thought that I could win that, yes, I'm trying to win $250,000, like, of course. But that's available, of course, to very, very few people as a practical option. So, yeah, in general, I'm playing the games this is how I'm living my life right now. I really like Mortal Kombat 11 and Street Fighter 5, and I've been playing them a lot. I really like KOF right now, so I'm playing it a lot, actually. And I'm not playing other games because I'm not as into them. Even maybe I could be good at them. I don't know. But
I mean, I'm definitely playing Soul Calibur these days for the money. Because,
very, very.
Like I said, people have accused
lucrative game.
They've accused me of getting into Soul Calibur for the Soul Calibur money. So
for the money, that's
absolutely
right. The big bucks.
That's what I've been doing it for. So
the Namco dollars.
Yep. The Calibucks, the Soul Calibucks. Oh.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I mean, like I've played KOF recently online. I really do enjoy the game a lot, but they do need to buff Isla a little bit, I think. So
yeah, maybe that could be good.
I think they need to
I was playing this cheap Vanessa just before the show, who was just like killing me in 2 hits all the time.
Freaking Vanessa, dude. Okay, so Vanessa and Rock are good example of characters who kind of need to get nerfed. One particular thing, I think characters that have too good of 2A confirms are 2B confirms, I should say.
2B to be clear. For
Yes.
Vanessa, she's got 4 in a row she can do.
Exactly. Those characters need to be nerfed a little. That specific power.
I hope they stay
There
strong.
needs to be more of
Oh,
that.
I want them to be strong. I just want that particular thing to be taken away.
No, just
That's
give that
all.
to more characters because that's fun.
Or
It's cool with me.
or make it so that because Rock and Vanessa also both have really super long and high damaging combos out of those, if they just lowered their damage, I'm totally down. Like if they turned them into like pixie characters from Marvel games so that they had to touch you a bunch of times as opposed to Vanessa getting full corner carry from halfway across the screen on half a bar and she builds most of it back anyway.
She's got like meter positive combos.
Yeah, and she's doing 50% on all of those. So,
Like all I would do to any character in KOF so far is just make their damage a little bit less, but not even a lot. Like maybe she needs to hit me 3 times instead of 2.
Right, exactly.
Like, whatever. Very very minor stuff. It's fine.
Uh-huh.
In general, not that imbalanced of a game. Yeah. I guess that's it. Congratulations, everybody.
Just as a reminder again, everybody, we are now sponsored by Manscaped. Please, if you do want to, check them out, manscaped.com. A lot of good products there for lots of different things too. You know, so
not just for your weird parts, weirdos.
Yeah. We got the
you can do other. By the way, you can trim your beard with this as well. By the way, it's not.
They
just
have
about
a nail
your
trimming kit. You all have fingernails. Just use our code on that. We get credit. It makes us feel good.
Yeah,
it makes Manscaped feel good.
I don't have
$20.
fingernails, but
like you can just buy whatever. Buy like a sticker or something from them.
Yeah, buy whatever. Just use our code.
I don't know. Do they sell stickers? I hope so.
I don't know, man. I hope so too.
All right, that's gonna be that. Thanks for hanging out. You and your weirdos and your weird parts. I don't know. I'm trying not to think about it. Weirdos. Who knows what you guys got going on? I don't know. Not me.
I'll show you. If you really want.
Look,
any Ultra Champ branded product soon. Yeah, we're gonna do that. I'm gonna make these guys do it if they want to or not. So yeah, we're gonna do that.
Yeah, we should definitely work on that. So, all right,
we're gonna do stickers.
Peace out, guys. Take care. Have a good night. And we'll see you guys next time.